going to do a quick video today just on making some image edits. And what we have is a logo that needs to be small for a little thumbnail style size logo for a website. And I'll show you an example here of why I want to change the color and just kind of change the logo a little bit. So up top there, that click by click, that's what we're going to be looking to change. So that page is set up so it is pretty small, and we just want to make it white, get rid of the web hosting, change the color of the cart, and see if we can make it look a little bit better. So we're going to be using Photoshop, Magic Wand tool, and a couple others to accomplish that. Alright, so getting started. So we have this already brought in. This is the original file of the logo. So it still has the text layers, it still has the cart, everything's kind of separate still. Alright, so this can all still be edited. And one thing you'll notice here is down at the bottom, it has the size of the image. So it's 3600 pixels wide by 1170 pixels tall. Resolution is 72. So that's going to be a problem right there, because this is going to have to be a lot smaller. And if we were just to make it a lot smaller right off the bat, we're going to get a lot of pixelization. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But first thing we need to do is let's change up the color of the cart so it has a nice contrast on that blue, and we'll do the same thing with this text. All right, so the text will be easy. So we're just going to do that, and to select the layer using the you can use the select tool, whatever right there, or you can select the layer in your layers panel over here. Okay, so once you have that selected, you can go to your text editor, and depending on how you have the default set up in your panel, you'll see that right here. And if not, you can always go up to Window, Workspace, and you can reset it. You can reset Essentials to find it. So, but what you're going to want to do is have your text editor handy, ready to go. So for example, you see mine is set to properties, so I can go right here, and once I click that, this color box pops up. And if I wanted to do white, I can do that. Or if I saw color on another part of the image that I liked, for instance, like this yellow, you can use this eyedropper outside the screen. You can just click on color that way. We're going to do white, so that would be this top corner. And if you want to get it perfect, you can always type 6 Fs. And I'll do the same thing. All right, so that's one. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Let's make this go away. We'll collapse that. And okay, so we want to get this hosting, right? If we look at the web page that we were working on, right, there's no reason to have the hosting up there because the size that this needs to be is just too small. So we're going to get rid of that hosting. This is a client portal, so once they get to this point, they already know where they're at. But we just want to have our name mark up there. Okay. So to do that, all we need to do is, again, you want to select the layer, so you can select it over here if you know where they are. You can turn it off if you want to keep this as the main file, right? So rather than deleting it and having to go back and find your font again and get it exactly how you wanted it for your full-size logo, you know, a good option is to just hide it. Do that by clicking the side. All right, so that's gone. Okay, let's get this size of click by click, right? So make that a little bit bigger, and we're just going to click and drag. So you can do that. You can also, of course, edit the text size like we looked at before in the properties. Right now it's pretty big. Font size 307. And our cart. So before we go any further, what we're going to do, because we're going to make this small, we're going to change this resolution. Again, down here at the bottom left, 72. And that's not going to be good enough. Okay, we're going to go to image size. Box is going to pop up. Okay. Now when you want to change everything, this links height and width, so you can scale it and keep the dimensions correct so it doesn't warp the image. But right now we're going to not have it linked. We're going to change the resolution to 300, which is like print quality. And we're going to select enlargement. And we'll do smoother. I'm going to give you a preview. That's at 100%, so you can see how big this is. We need to zoom out to like 4% to even get an idea. All right, so we're going to hit OK. And that's going to process, so it'll take a second. All right, now to get everything back in frame, there's a quick shortcut that you can do. That is Control-0 on a PC and Command-0, I believe, on a Mac. All right, so now that we have the resolution how we want it, and it's still big, let's go ahead and work on our cart. So you can see that I already have a layer effect from when I was doing this, when I was making this logo. And we might want to turn that off, and I'll show you how to do that. But I think the first thing we're going to do actually is make the outline of the cart white. Okay. So now again, with the tools, you might not see this magic wand tool immediately in your Photoshop. So if you're not familiar with Photoshop, you can go down to Edit Toolbar. And that brings up all your options for the different tools. So you can just set it up however you want it. But you want this magic wand. Okay, so what we want to do is we're first going to get rid of that adjustment layer that we had on, and then we're going to make sure that we have the cart selected over here in the layers. Once that's selected, we're going to just click on the color that we want to change, and we're going to use a shortcut to use this white right here. And it's a foreground color in the background, and that shortcut is Shift F5 on a PC. So once you hit that, fill comes up, and you can choose foreground. It's defaults on foreground, so that's usually why I keep my foreground set to whatever color I'm working with the most. And to enter or hit OK, and there's our white cart. And we're going to do the same thing with the wheels. And we can select both of them too. Hold Shift, select, Shift F5, enter, white. Okay. And to do that the other way, you would go Edit, and all you're doing is fill. Okay. So next up, we have our simplified logo, and we turned off our fill effect. So we need to decide if that is going to look better with that gradient that kind of turns to yellow or not. The first thing you got to do before you go any further is remember to deselect what you have selected. So Control D, or probably Command D on a Mac, and we can scroll out And we can even match kind of that color up that we saw. That blue right there. You can do this off screen, right? But a lot of times I'll just take a screen snip, that, and go back to Photoshop and paste it. Look how small it is because our image is so big. This is another shortcut, Alt on a PC, and I'm using the scroll wheel on my mouse to zoom in or zoom out. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to switch these so we keep that white. We're going to click on that. We're going to make that blue. We're going to hit OK. And now we're going to get up here to our move tool. I often use this just as a way to select layers easily. We're going to select that layer. See it over here? We're going to delete it. We're going to go stay in layers, and we want to get the make a base fill layer. So we're going to add a layer with that plus, and then we're going to fill it with the blue. So again, Control 0, let's zoom out, get it back in frame, Shift F5, hit enter, and we now have a blue background. So if you're wondering why the text disappeared, it's because the layer moved above the text. So I'm going to go down here, select the text, and move it up, and there it is. All right, so on the website, looks like about that size. So we want to move that click by click away a little bit from the cart. And I think we want to keep these colors as simple as possible. So I'm going to turn it off. And I'm not a design expert, so a lot of times this is like what I do if I have to do something quick and just for myself without using it. All right, let's do that. Enter. And now we can get rid of this layer that we made for the, actually no, we'll keep it for a second because we're going to reduce this image size greatly. And first way we're going to do that is I'm going to reduce it a little bit because, let's see, I can cut it in half while we're looking at it and zoom in, make sure I'm losing too much. If I had this set as a vector, no, I didn't. Okay. Okay, so we made that a little bit smaller. Click by click, that's a font, right? So that's already kind of a vector image. So really, we just need to change the font size. And we can make the cart match it. Oops, we don't want that. Yeah, so if you want to just keep scale, if you want to keep the ratio of height and width the same, just click and drag. If you want to change it, you can use Shift and kind of change aspect ratio. You can even make it go the other way. We don't want to do that. We just want to keep that the same, make it a little bit smaller, get it in line, make it smaller. All right, now have that. Let's zoom out and let's crop this thing before we fine tune it. Crop it. Control O, bring it up. All right, so we didn't lose any quality there, and we are at down to 2900 pixels. So we're almost at the point where we could just use Photoshop to get it the rest of the way for us. And I'll show you that in a second, the other way to do it. But if we left it at the 72 resolution, we would run into a problem here because it would start to be pixelated and the quality just wouldn't be there. We wouldn't have sharp lines. They would either be pixelated or they would just be kind of blurry looking, which is a way to fix that, but that's not the purpose of this video. We're gonna crop again, and then we'll finish it off to get it the exact size we want it using the image size. All right, now we're at 1752,306 height. And let's see what I need. Nope, just saw it. There we go. All right, width 400, height 127. So it's gonna be quite different. We're gonna need to add some height to it. Let's make this kind of more closer to a square than the long rectangle it is. So we're going to just adjust the canvas size. So that's not going to affect any of our text or images. We're going to add height to it and make that 600. Okay. All right, now we're going to just do a little bit more fine tuning. Make this a little bit smaller on its own. But if you make your scale something down or scale it up just by dragging, if you click hold and to make it smaller on your end, to get it to enter those changes, just hit enter, and then you're free to select something else. If not, you'll just see that you're kind of like stuck on that one layer. All right, now let's go and we'll start with the canvas size. All right, so let's get this to the size that we had, that was 420, Steve. Mm, 400, 127. Okay, let's see what happens. 127. Okay. Now we're going to just drag it there. Zoom in a little bit. So you can start to see now we're starting to lose a little bit of it, but you can get around that. You can select that as a work path and convert it to a layer and smooth it out. But you don't have to, because nobody's going to be able to zoom in that close on the web page. So we're going to go up and let's do this. Crop be 127. Right? That's pretty close just on its own. And then you can check here, and this will help you with your degradation of the quality. Okay, so it tells you enlargement, reduction, right? Just to give you a hint, and you can play around with it to see which one works out the best, or you can just leave it automatic. I usually try by cubic reduction when I'm making something smaller. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to make our canvas size exactly what we need to be, and that was 127. Okay, that is our exact size that we need. Now let's make sure we got all our elements. Okay. All right, now we can turn off this layer, and we need to save it with the transparency. So we're going to go save as PNG, small. We can put the dimensions in here just to help find it when we're looking for it. And then you'll have this show up. And we want to do smallest file size. This will be the slowest. So this is going to make the file as small as possible without, with as little compromise to the quality of the image. That's why it takes longer to save something smaller. It's kind of counterintuitive, but we're doing the smallest size, which is going to save the slowest, because we want to compress it so it's optimized for the web, but it's not total loss of quality. It'll still go pretty quick because it's a small image. The other thing you can do too is if you have a big image, you can use this like legacy tool they have, which is export save for web, and you can go that route too. But this one we're going to save, and we're going to also save one with a new name, logo PNG And we'll just make a new folder. Okay. And then we'll see if we can log on really quick, and we'll upload it to the server and see if we can get it to. You want to do that? Yes, we want to replace it. And by the way.